Folks, welcome to Fyreflye's Follies. I hope that you enjoy the video today. If you do, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will and that you'll stick around for a while. So, I'm doing some canning today and I realized I have never done a video on beef stroganoff. So I thought, since I'm doing beef stroganoff, I would do a video. So, let me preface this by saying this is not a complete beef stroganoff. This is the base. But everything in the jar ends up being cooked. It's soupy because it's not thickened and there's no dairy in it. It has all of the other ingredients in it. And I can come home from work. I work a full-time job. So I can come home from work and in the amount of time that it takes me to cook some egg noodles and throw together a salad, this is thickened up and ready to go. So I raw pack. So I start by layering in roughly a cup of beef, and roughly I can in pints because it is just me, and I pack the meat down in the jar. And I ordered groceries yesterday, and I ordered mushrooms because I knew I was going to be canning stroganoff. And the mushrooms that they brought me, well, let's just say they're not the ones I would have chosen. And I wasn't sure that I was going to get to this today, so I went ahead and cooked them off to give me an extra day or so on them. So the mushrooms have been steamed. And I added the broth from the mushrooms to the beef broth that I'll be putting in this. Let's see, I think we're only going to get about 5 jars. Alright, and again, I pack the meat down in the jar. It's easier in a wide mouth jar, but I don't have any handy. But I pack the meat down in the jar so that it's about a cup, roughly about halfway. A pint is 2 cups, so. Alright, and to each of these jars, I'm going to add half a cup of mushrooms and a third cup of onions. Now, I like mine pretty heavy in mushrooms. And these will pack down some when I debubble. If you aren't crazy about the mushrooms, go a little lighter on the mushrooms. If you aren't crazy about the onions, go a little lighter on the onions. It's your food. Fix it the way you want it, as far as your taste preferences go. So again, I'm adding a healthy half cup of mushrooms to each jar. And then I'm going to add a third cup of onions to each jar. Now, to each of these jars. Get everything over here where I can reach it. Make sure that stays where you can see it. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to add roughly a tablespoon of tomato paste. I'll need that again. Alright, and to this I'm going to add a half a teaspoon each thyme and parsley. Having meals ready to eat like this, where it only takes me 10 minutes to have dinner on the table after I have worked 12 hours, is a lifesaver to me. It keeps me out of the drive-thrus. It keeps me out of the fast food joints. So now I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of garlic, roughly, to each one. And again, if you guys have been on my channel much, you know I love me some garlic. So if you're not a fan of garlic, adjust it down. Don't use it at all. Use less. Use more. Adjust for your soup, for your tastes. Alright. Then I want a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and black pepper. There we go. And actually, I'm not doing quite a full teaspoon of black, or a full 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm not a big fan of black pepper. It does give it some needed taste, so it does kind of need it in my opinion, but I think people can go way overboard. All right, and then I don't know why I switched. I'm doing 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and just under a 1/4 teaspoon. Needs just that little bit of salt in there to wake up that tomato paste. Alright. So all that is left is a tablespoon of steak sauce and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And y'all, I'm going to eyeball it. I've been cooking a long time, and after you cook for a while, you start to just kind of eyeball things. So now we are going to fill these with broth to a 1-inch headspace, which they're almost at anyway. And then I'm going to debubble them. And then I might have to add a little more. Might have to add a little more broth once I debubble it. Want to go down, get down in the around the sides of it, and down through the middle. Once you've debubbled, top up where you need to make sure that you're at a 1-inch headspace. Alright, I have a little bowl of vinegar and a piece of paper towel. I'm just going to dip my paper towel in the vinegar. And I'm going to wipe these rims. Now this serves two purposes. When I'm getting my jars ready, when I get them out and I wash them, I check the rims to make sure there are no nicks or bumps or cracks or any imperfections that might interfere with my seal. This gives me a second pass to recheck and make sure nothing happened during processing or that I didn't miss anything. And because I'm canning meat, I always do them twice. Just to be sure. Alright, since we are pressure canning, we do not need to heat or simmer our lids. So let me get over here and grab my lids. So we're just going to put our lids on. Grab some rings. Rings on fingertip tight. All right, and into the canner. And I'm working at room temperature, so my canner has the water in it, but I have not turned the burner on yet. All right. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I'm going to let it, once it's blowing a steady stream of steam from the vent pipe, I will let it vent for 10 full minutes. Then I'll put the weight on and I will let it come up to pressure. Now for me, that's 11 pounds by gauge or 10 pounds by weight, and I use a weighted regulator. It comes in 3 pieces. The base is 5 pounds, the second piece is 10 pounds, there's a third piece for 15. And you can, according to your altitude, for my altitude it's 10 pounds. So I will let it come up to pressure, and when it gets up to pressure, I'll set a timer for 75 minutes. Meat cans at 75 minutes for pints and 90 minutes for quarts. Once that time is up, I will shut the heat off and I will let it come down off of pressure naturally. And once it does, I'll bring you back and I'll show you how it turned out. Okay, I brought the canner up to a full boil, let it vent for 10 minutes, set the regulator on it, let it run for 75 minutes. I turn the heat off, I let it come down naturally. I set the lid off a jar a little bit for about 5 or 6 minutes. And now let's get this out and see how it turned out. Let's see if I can get over here so you can see the mushrooms, you can see the beef, you can see the onions. It is still bubbling away. I see little bits of garlic floating in it. Now again, this is not ready straight out of the jar. When I get ready to eat this, I will drain the liquid into a pan and thicken it either with a roux or with some cornstarch, and then I'll put the rest of the solids in and let them heat up while my noodles cook, and I'll finish it by stirring in some sour cream. It's quick and easy, great to have on hand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these sit for a little while, and in a couple of hours I will move them to the dining room to cool for the next 24 hours. And then tomorrow evening I will come back, I will take off the rings, I will check the seals, I'll wash my jars, label them, put them in the pantry. They're good for a couple of years. I really hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will. If you hit the notification bell, YouTube should notify you when I upload a new video based on your settings. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.